Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. I hope you could see me. I'm still relatively new at Facebook Live, and so you're going to have to be a little patient with me. I know it's been about 2 weeks since I was last here. Thank you to those of you who tuned in, and thank you to everybody who shared my last post. For those of you who didn't get a chance to see it, it was a great post for kids, a little lesson that I did for them, and you might want to catch it. It's on Facebook, on my page. It's also on YouTube, The Light Giver Stories, and on my website, www.thelightgiverstories.com. Today, I want to talk to you about the lens through which we see things and trying to explain that to children. We can see that you can have 2 or 3 people look at something or hear about something and have a very different idea about it. You see that all the time today. And there's a reason, because of the lens that we have that we look through. And each person's lens is affected by a number of things. It can be your experiences, it could be your upbringing, it could be the environment that you grew up in, it could be what you've learned. It can be difficult situations you went through, it can be happy situations that you went through, a whole plethora of emotions that tie into maybe some of those memories. They all affect the lens that we have, that we look through. And one of the things I wanted to talk to you about today, one easy way that I can do this, I have a chiropractor that I go to, Vincent. Yay, Vincent. And at my chiropractor's office, they have these lenses. They look like sunglasses, but they're not. They're for mood, and they come in all different colors. And I thought that this would be a really wonderful way to show people how we all have different lenses. So maybe one person's experiences and background and education and their environment has them see things through this lens, right? This is an orange lens. And so I may look at the same situation as somebody else, but if this is the lens that I have based on my past, based on my experience, based on my knowledge, everything is going to seem tinted or affected by the orange lens I have. Somebody else might have, actually, yeah, the orange. Somebody else may have yellow lenses. And it's based on their experiences and their environment and what they've been exposed to and the emotional things that they've gone through. So it's going to have maybe some similarities with the person who has the orange lens. Maybe they have some similar experiences, some shared values, some shared opinions. So it may not be that off. But then there might be somebody who comes along who sees things through this blue lens. And this blue lens is going to be very different. Now, one lens is not better than another. So you may see things through a yellow lens, an orange lens, a red lens, a purple lens. I have these in a lot of colors, okay? But it doesn't make one person's opinion, one person's ideas, one person's understanding any different than any, or any better or any worse than anybody else. It's just different. And maybe you might say, well, I can't see how you can see things blue. How do you see things blue when clearly it's yellow, right? And when the person's seeing it with the yellow lens, to them it is yellow. They can't understand the blue. The good thing is that we can listen to people. We can talk to people, not talk at people, but talk to people and try to understand what is it that makes them see things through this blue lens. Because their experiences and their environment and maybe some of the things that they've gone through in their life They may look at things and just see blue, and you may just see yellow. But when we try to be open and listen to other people and listen to why they feel the way they do or why they think the way we do, maybe we could see things in a different way. Now, maybe when you put blue and yellow together, you usually get green. I may not see things exactly the way the person in the blue sees them, nor might they see the way I look through let's say, a yellow lens. But we can try by listening to one another, really truly listening, to try to understand the differences. I may never, if I'm a yellow lens, I may never see things clearly blue, but maybe I can start to see something different. And maybe I can put another lens on. And maybe my end result is not going to be the same. And maybe it's okay. We don't have to all believe the same things, see things the same exact way. The most important thing is that we just truly listen to each other and that we try to be understanding. So I'm going to give you guys an example that I see in my life. My mom, who I love and adore, she had a very different childhood than I had. She had a very difficult childhood. She came to the United States at the age of 12, and prior to coming to the United States, she lived in a very small village in Greece, up on the top of a mountain. And when I say they were dirt poor, they were so dirt poor that the floor of their two-room house was dirt. And my grandmother had some hook rugs that she put on the floor. Literally no electricity, no water, no plumbing in the house. Warmed themselves with an actual fire, and there was like to my understanding, there was something to kind of let the smoke out so that they could breathe. So you can imagine the difference that she found when she came to the United States. And even though they were still poor when they came, to have electricity, to have running water, a bathroom in your house was a very big deal. Now, fast forward, it's been many years since my mom came to the United States. And yes, she lives a very different life right now. We have a nice home. We have 3 bathrooms. It's fantastic in comparison to where she came. But she still has a little bit of that lens left over. So when we were doing some renovations in our home, about almost 10 years ago now, and we were trying to empty our cabinets and get some things out. And we had like a couple of glasses from an old set and another couple of glasses from another old set. And I said to my mom, you know, Mom, we should just donate these to Goodwill. We have like 2 or 3 of these glasses, 2 or 3 of these glasses, and we have a new set. And she had difficulty. She had difficulty getting rid of them. She has difficulty getting rid of a lot of things, even if we don't use them, even if it doesn't work really well. And it's all because she grew up with such poverty, with being without. And so she looks at things with that lens. Now, it's not exactly the same as it was when she first came to the United States, and she knows she can afford to buy a new glass or even a set of glasses. But still, that's a part of her. So that lens is in there. And even though she may be wearing some different lenses too, it's still in there. And as a person who was fortunate to have indoor plumbing and to have food on the table, I had to come to understand where that fear or that uncomfortable feeling was coming from. Not to say that I grew up rich in any way. No, I didn't. But I wasn't also at that level of poverty. So when something might break, or if something is no longer working or we don't use it, I'm like, okay, let's donate it. But for her, it's a little more difficult. And it took me coming to understand, putting on these lenses so that I could understand where she was coming from. And all it takes to try to understand where somebody else is coming from is really listening. And that's something we can all get better at, me included. A lot of times, if somebody has a difference of opinion from us, or they look at things from a different lens that maybe we're not used to or we don't see, sometimes people tune them out and they say, oh, don't want to hear you, don't want to know you, don't want to hear what you're talking about. But it's wrong. What we must do is try on that lens, or try to see through that lens, maybe with our lens, and try to understand. And maybe we put it on and we say, well, you know what? I vehemently disagree with you. Or I don't see things that way. And that's okay. As long as we're respectful when we do listen to what they have to say, as long as we can show some compassion and understanding, that's the most important thing. We may not agree with everybody, but let's disagree in a respectful way. Let's listen with an open ear. And if you want to do something like this for kids, maybe you don't have like all these different color glasses if you want to show this to children, but maybe you could use a pair of clear glasses, and maybe a pair of sunglasses, maybe a couple pairs of sunglasses that have a couple of different shades. That's a great way to explain to children, to try to put on somebody else's lens. Just try to understand people differently. And I think it's also a lesson that some adults could also use. Well, that's pretty much it for today, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you like this little demonstration, and I hope that you consider trying to look at things from another person's lens. You would find that most of us all want the same things. We just may have a different approach to getting there. But let's try to find our commonalities. Let's try to find the things that we agree upon, because I assure you, there is more that we agree upon. There is more that we definitely would agree upon if we listened a little better. Thank you so much. For those of you just tuning in, I'm sorry that you missed it, but you can probably see it on the replay. My name is Peggy Sideratos. I'm a former teacher and the author of the Light Giver Stories and the Light Giver Stories Workbook, which are lessons and stories written for children to try to help them to develop their character and also their coping skills to handle things like disappointment, fear, and anger. If any of you want to find out more information about me or my books, please visit my website, www.thelightgiverstories.com. I give away 2 free lessons and 2 free stories from each of those books. They're also available on Amazon. Some people ask me to kind of go over what my books are about, and I'll do that on the next live. But I hope that you can take away from this something that you can use with your children, to just kind of help them to understand. Put on another lens. Try to see things from a different perspective. Try to be compassionate, understanding. And like I said, we probably see things a lot more alike than we think we do. All right, my friends, have a beautiful, blessed day. I love you, and thanks for tuning in, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye. Have a beautiful day.